I was trying to actually talk to my good friend Seth Keschel. Seth, hi. Seth is in Texas right now, and I will tell you, he's doing yeoman's work, ladies and gentlemen. That man is a patriot. Love him to death. So thank you very much for inviting me here tonight, and I'm humbled every single time I come in front of an audience like this. I'm just a guy trying to fulfill his charge as a legislator who his constituents asked him, I feel that justice has been denied and I'm looking for a champion. Will you be that champion? And amazingly, there's very few individuals who will step up and do that. And yeah, I'm probably offending about at least 85 members of the chamber and the legislature that I'm at. I am taking no prisoners because we have a republic to save. So, the first thing I would like to do is give a shout out to the folks out in McAllen, Texas at the We Stand America event. That event has been attacked by Satan now for the last 6 weeks. We have suffered over 1,000 cyber attacks. They have tried to take down our ticketing engine. They have tried to interfere with our all of the individuals in the lineup. They've even tried to insert a little discord between the churches in the area and speakers, and they've done everything they can to interfere with filling 7,000 seats. I learned as I got off the plane today that Ted Nugent signed up to just show up. And beyond that, Maria de Bartiromo says, you know what? I'm going to be there. So my hat's off to Christy Hutcherson, to the team that's down there right now. I love you. I wish I was there, but I'll see you sometime tomorrow afternoon. Okay, so I would like to start with Exodus 18, 20, 21. This is my favorite scripture right now, especially on the election integrity issue. Choose from among you godly men, and I presume women as well, who are disinterested in personal gain, to lead the thousands, the hundreds, the 50s, and the 10s. That is Jethro talking to Moses about the Republican form of government. Right? But we seem to have missed something here. Choose from among you godly men and women, disinterested in what? Personal gain. How is it that we send people to Congress that are paupers and they come out multimillionaires? Nancy Pelosi and all the others that follow her. I mean, there are people who go to prison for insider trading, yet these jokers get to do it all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you, it is time to clean house. I hate it when this thing goes off. There's so much on my brain right now, if I don't at least put it someplace, it's going to like disappear into the ether. Okay, so I'd like to advance a very simple premise with you. Elections belong to the people, not to the government. Would you agree? No, okay, that sounds kind of tepid. Would you agree that elections belong to the people, not to the government? Okay, that's a little bit better. So it's the government's role to do what? To make it easy to vote, but hard to cheat. Yes? Okay. We're getting somewhere here. So I'd like to help you. I'd like to get your help with a little bit of guerrilla marketing right now. Okay? Pull this communist-made device out for just a moment, and I want you to go out to your favorite communist channel, whether it's Twitter or Getter or whatever. No, I'm serious. Pull it out right now. Pull your phone out. I'm going to ask you to do a couple things. Number one, I want you to go out onto a social media channel and do hashtag Meet Me in McAllen. That's MEETIN. Oh, I'm sorry. Me, MEET. Me, M-E, in McAllen. MCALLEN. We have 7,000 seats that we need to fill Saturday morning between 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning. And here's what we're going to do there. We are not only going to show the theory of the case that election and fraud exists, we're going to present evidence. This is going to be a discussion about domestic security. When we hear about national security, that is a federal matter. Immigration, that's a federal matter. By the way, don't let anybody fool you. It's not people coming across the border. Immigration is actually the process of naturalization legally. People pouring across the border, that is not immigration. That's a crime. And it is being facilitated, not only, I'm going to give you a little bit of juice here. It's a push-pull program. The pull, believe it or not, is religious organizations that are getting a ton of money from the federal government. Methodists, Baptists, Catholics, they're all in on it. They've got their nose in the gravy train trough, and they're taking billions of your dollars to traffic human beings into this country, into your communities, by the way. And if you don't think that's happening, allow me to show you some of the pictures on my phone of the people sitting in the airports that I'm in when I'm traveling throughout this nation. Our government is a rogue government. They are, now that's the push, or I'm sorry, that's the pull. The push is the cartels pushing people across the border. So don't tell me that these religious NGOs don't know that they're in bed with the cartels. It's children who are being pressed into service in child rape rings. It is fentanyl that is coming into your streets and your schools that is killing people. We now have more people dying from fentanyl than we have dying from COVID. Yet these morons, actually they're very smart. They're doing exactly what they plan to do. They're poisoning our country. Mayorkas, biggest liar on the planet. We do not have a secure border, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, I had to take 2 suitcases today because my body armor is one of them. When I go down to McAllen and do a tour of the border, I'll have to wear that on U.S. soil. Yeah, I'm righteously indignant. This is our country, our property, and we now have cartels that have within 60 miles, 70, 80 miles of the Texas-Arizona border into our country. They have operational control of our country. Who's trying to shut down WeStandAmerica.com? I'm pretty sure they got a hand in it. So, who's behind them? China? That's right. Actually, you want to come up and give this? Because you're taking my stuff. China is importing all the precursors for fentanyl. How do you take over a country? You poison it. You poison their minds with CRT. You poison their bodies with COVID. You poison their bodies with fentanyl. You pay off the politicians, present company excluded, maybe. I'm pretty sure. I've talked to these guys tonight, so I'm pretty sure they're on your side. So I want you to help me with some guerrilla marketing. I need to get back on task here because I could get off on a rant all night. I need to have you put out on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, hashtag Meet Me in McAllen. How many of you have done that? Please raise your hands. Okay, if you haven't done it, I'm just going to stop and let you do it. Meet, M-E-E-T. If you're not on social media, I'm going to give you a pass. Meet, M-E-E-T, M-E-N-I-N, M-C-A-L-L-E-N. Here's why that's important. We want to flood the zone and put the communists who are now running Twitter and Facebook and all those spaces, that there are patriots all over this country who are interested in making a difference. Now, here's the other thing I'd like you to do. Go out to WFFA.WINN. This is especially important to the ladies in the room. That is Women Fighting for America. I'm asking you to join that organization because I am trying to help the leader of that organization build that into a national presence in every single state to create a chapter of the warrior women that are in this room right now so that you have focus on what to do, where to do it, and who to aim it at. So that's WFFA.WIN. It's not a .com, okay? WFFA.WIN. And gentlemen, you can join as well. Suck it up. All right? Okay. So now I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what I think you probably asked me to come to you about. Many of you have probably seen something that looks a little bit like this, okay? I will tell you that as I got off the plane today, I received a call from some of the folks that I've been working with. I should back up. So about 8 months ago, we had 3 states that were interested in pursuing a ballot fraud countermeasures program where we had 3 things built into this document. Now, this is a Cochise County ballot. It's actually a reproduction of one with some very specific fraud countermeasures. You'll notice that up here at the top, there's a little bitty QR code, okay? Down here, there looks like a little Mylar tile. And I'll have this, by the way, afterwards. And then you've got a little yellow Arizona map. What you don't see is a watermark that goes side to side, top to bottom. We will know immediately if somebody has put into our election system, once this legislation's passed, whether or not somebody has put into our election system a fictitious ballot. And by the way, for the first time in the history of the United States, we will have an audit trail that begins with the printing of ballot blanks and goes all the way through to the counting of ballots. That, ladies and gentlemen, is huge. So because it's a little bit too light in here, I can't really do, maybe I could have the lovely Mrs. Mahoney come up and hold the ballot for a moment so that I can put the light on it. Y'all know who this is, right? Another rock star in Tennessee. Let's see, can you turn the lights down or off for you can turn the microphone off. Can you turn the lights, oh, God has spoken. All right, come over here. Let's get out of the spotlight a second. Vanna, yes, Vanna. Step in the dark. All right. Hold it as high as you can. And I'm going to see if, do you see that? All right, tip it that way, that way, that way, that way, that way. And then we're going to go this way, this way, this way, this way. Very good, Vanna. Thank you very much. By the way, Wendy is a very good friend of mine. She is such a gracious host every time I come here. Okay, so here's the deal. I get off the plane today. This is kind of inside baseball. I get a call from somebody that I've been working with for quite some time. 8 months ago, we had 3 states that were interested in working with us. Then 6 months ago, it got to 7. We are now at 18, provided Tennessee wants to play. No pressure, fellas. No pressure. Okay, so I get a phone call. It's like, well, there's a governor in a certain state who is very frustrated by the fact that he's got a Republican House and a Democrat Senate. And they refuse to do anything together that will enforce election integrity. Oh. No, I'm not going to tell you who it is because I don't want to burst his bubble before he has an opportunity to pop the cork. Wow, there's a mix of metaphors. Sorry. So here's the deal. We Stand America was supposed to be the first event in a nationwide tour for us to cover 26 states in 26 weeks. Aggressive? You betcha. But we've got a republic to save. This individual actually bought into the plan that we had. The action items were, number 1, you start at the county. You ask your county commissioners, your county supervisors, your county election officials to mandate in county ordinance the adoption of the Arizona legislative language mandating the use of this paper in your elections. Then the next stop, your state legislature. We want it to be in state statute. The third stop is your governor. Call a special session. And if you won't call a special session, then at least do an executive order until normal order can be restored in your legislature. Because I'm telling you, in 2022, you are going to see a sea change of leadership in state governments all across the land. The people have had a gutful. They are done. So this particular individual said, well, the governor would like to have you come to our state because he's ready to sign an executive order under procurement. I don't need a law for that. I'm just going to sign it and say we need to procure this. Now, I'm not going to ruin this individual's opportunity at stardom because I really applaud the idea that somebody would step forward like this. I can tell you that it's probably not the Arizona governor. I'm not going to name who it is because I don't want to blow his thunder. But I will tell you that this is probably one of the most important moves in American history in elections. It does three things. Number one, it establishes an audit trail. It begins with in fact, we separate the paper purchaser, the paper supplier, who prints the ballots. It separates that individual from the printer of the ballot blanks. The ballot blanks will have the watermark you just saw. It will have a lot and sequence number for the actual blank of paper. And then it will have a QR code pre-printed at random on the document before the ballot is actually printed. Three countermeasures that accomplish the top three things that I receive calls about from all of my constituents. Number one, how do we know how many ballots were actually in the system? We don't. Talking to the individuals who were in the Arizona audit, the Maricopa County Senate audit. By the way, the media is not going to tell you this part. You had Republicans, Democrats, and independents. They made a pledge to each other. We don't care where this goes. Let the chips fall where they may. We love our country more than we love our party. They should be applauded for that. Now, you're not going to find this in any report, but this is in after-action conversations that we've had with these individuals. What did you observe that isn't in the report? And many of them would say, it took me about 2 hours to recognize a tactile memory, a difference in the paper. There's about 10 different papers that were used in Maricopa County. But there was one paper that always seemed to have the ballot bubbles for the office filled in perfectly. This is what they're saying. I'm not making this up. It looked like it was machine printing. And you could always tell that ballot with your eyes closed. They could feel the difference because they were handling every single ballot. Didn't matter who it was that was talking about it. Every single one reported the same thing. Now, we've talked to many of them, and their identities are going to remain in the back of my mind because I don't want the Bolsheviks who are trying to attack everybody that wants to stand up for this republic. I'm not going to sacrifice these people. My name, Mark William Finchem, has a lot of meaning. Mark, servant of God. Do I fall down sometimes? Yeah. But I try. William, noble spirit, resolute protector. I'll be damned if this republic is going to go down on my watch. As far as Finchem goes, I don't know, maybe keeper of small birds, I don't know. My point, ladies and gentlemen, is elections belong to the people. And I've heard a lot of conversation around, well, we've got these machines that make it so convenient. So hold on a second. If elections belong to the people, let's roll back about 20 years. What did we used to do? Paper ballots, hand counting by who? The people. And show ID. I'll get to that topic in a moment. But more importantly, you had the people involved in their elections. So let's go back to the original premise. Elections belong to the people, not to the government. So I would urge my colleagues in Tennessee, dump the machines because they only serve the interests of the media. Timely, not fast, timely reporting of the outcome is what's important. But it's not as important as accuracy. You can have accurate, you can have fast. I would like to have accurate, timely information. Because timeliness does indeed interfere with those people who would like to commit fraud, who would like to inject fictitious numbers into systems. Now, I purposely didn't include a deck tonight because I wanted to have a conversation with you. The people own the election. So I'm asking every one of you, become a poll watcher. Be there, be involved. I really don't care if you have to take a vacation day or you have to give up a day to a sick day. In Arizona, we're actually talking about making Election Day a state holiday. So you got no excuse to not get off the couch and go vote. Now, we've got a problem with mail-in ballots. And we have a problem that the Congress would like to exploit. They want to make it mandatory for everybody. Okay. But you're going to use my paper. Because you're not going to have access to pre-printed ballots that have been shoved into the system to the tune of hundreds of thousands. Y'all hear about Bethpage, New York? New York or New Jersey? New York. Yeah. Okay, we have an expert on Bethpage. Over 100,000 ballots trucked in and just shoved into the system in Pennsylvania? Really? Huh. Must be they weren't very confident in the polling numbers. Guess they didn't think Biden really had a chance. So what I would like to leave you with, because I think I'm about out of time. I'm good? I can go on? Come on, you're going to give me a number here. Oh, wrap it up. You give everybody else a number. You're just saying, shut up, Finchem, sit down. I don't take to that very kindly, by the way. All right. I will be available after we conclude here. Ladies and gentlemen, Satan is amongst us. The Bolsheviks are on the inside of the wire. And by the way, all of you who are military members, would you please stand up for just a minute? I want to see who I'm dealing with. God bless you. Thank you for your service. And that is not a trite thank you. We owe this nation to your blank check. Here's the other thing I'm going to ask of you. How many of you are willing to run for school board in the next election? Raise your hand. I'm looking for 3. I'm looking for 3. Raise your hands right now. 1, 2, 3. Good. Okay, so here's the deal. You know why you have CRT in your schools? Because you have people on school boards who don't represent your values. And here's another thing I'm going to ask you to do. At the next school board meeting, I want 3 people to raise their hand and say, I'm going to go and endure it. Okay? Whoa. I was just looking for 3. 30's okay. We did something in my legislative district that has turned out to work famously. The first time you take 3 or 30, you go in and you just sit quietly and you don't say a word. Just sit and observe. And then we have this program called Bring a Friend. Oh, yeah. You go from 30 to 60, 160 to 120, and all of a sudden your school board says, what just happened? We're going to have to go into executive session. We're going to have to start doing our meetings by Zoom. These people they're coming and they're paying attention. They're asking questions. We can't have that. That's exactly what's happening, ladies and gentlemen. They now know that you're paying attention, and they are terrified of you. That's why we still have a fence around the Capitol, and that's why we have people in office who should be asking the same question that Plato asked Dionysus in Syracuse as he walked the streets with his phalanx of guards. What harm have you done to require so much protection? Thank you for your time.
Hey, Gary with Tennessee Stands. I just want you to know that this conversation is far from over. We're going to continue to put pressure on our legislators and leaders in our state to fix the issues that we know exist here in Tennessee. So there is more opportunity that we're going to be putting forward to have these important discussions around election integrity. I want to thank Garland Favorito, Mark Finchem, Benny Smith, and everyone who was involved in making this Election Integrity Symposium happen. I also want you to know, if you're watching this video, you can continue this conversation right now on the Freedom Matters podcast. We're so excited. We had Benny Smith and Garland Favorito from the symposium come back the next day and join us in the studio for an awesome podcast that's going to release on Wednesday, February 2nd. So if you go to the Freedom Matters podcast and look for the episode on Wednesday, February 2nd, we had a great continued conversation with both Benny and Garland about the issues that we're seeing specifically here in Tennessee. So please go check that conversation out. You can go to tennesseestands.org/podcast. To subscribe. You can also find the Freedom Matters podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. So please go check it out and subscribe. Also, make sure that you go to tennesseestands.org and subscribe to our email newsletter, because there's going to be a lot more information coming your way. Thanks so much.